It's doing some stuff. There we go. We're live. Let's see. Open live. No. So this is the preview. This is the public view. Copy video URL. That should work. And then if I put that in. All right. See if that brings you to the stream, Josh. Did it work?
Yes, it did.
That's the stream?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Great. Put that in the tweet. Alright, so hello! Even though we're kind of still getting going, but hello!
Yes.
We are streaming and everything's good to go. We've got all of us in the webcam box there, which I just kind of did that last minute. We're streaming right now. No drop frames. Everything's looking good. We're talking about Google Project Fi and the Nexus 5X. Google Project Fi is a phone service that you pay for monthly like any other phone service, but it's through Google. And the Nexus 5 is obviously the Nexus 5.
Nexus 5X.
X specifically. They're going to be... I don't have one, but these two fuckers... Hold on, I'm going to cross it. These two fuckers have one. There we go. Yeah, I like it. They both got theirs at roughly the same time, so they're going to be the primary reviewers, and I'm going to be moderating for the most part and asking questions and shit. And also criticizing stuff. So
this is like our form of a caucus.
We're doing our own caucus right now, folks. # caucus. No, don't put that in there. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the Project Fi thing. Let's see. There we go. Oh, I need
Isn't it crazy how Ronald Reagan came back from the dead and is winning the caucuses in Iowa? Amazing, isn't it?
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I'll just move this down. I'll move this.
Nice behind the scenes.
There we go. A little bit behind the scenes of OBS there. That's all right. Because there's the there's the regular OBS, which I don't use anymore, and then there's the OBS multi platform, which is the newest version. So this is the first time doing it on this particular version. But I think we're good. It's a lot better. It's what I'll have you using, Josh. But yeah.
I don't understand any of it.
So yes, let's see. So we're talking about Project Fi. Blah 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 blah. Let's see. Yada yada yada. I guess the first thing you guys got going on here is talking about coverage. So just get into the general coverage stuff.
Yeah. Which just introduces Google Fi is Google's...
Yeah, give me a general description of what Google Fi is, you two.
Okay. So
both of you.
Project
Josh,
Fi
you jump in.
Is Google's first attempt at a major cell phone service, competing with other big cell phone carriers like Sprint, Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, all those fuckers. And also taking a chunk out of the like pay-as-you-go markets like Cricket and Net10 and all those sort of things. So.
And we actually found this. Actually, Brian found this. I forget what review. This was actually in one of our AvP chats a while back that we found this. And
yeah, back in November.
Yeah, I got all headstrong about it and ended up jumping on the ship. And Brian was right behind me.
Yeah.
And I haven't had any regrets yet. That's for sure.
I would have, but I just got the new phone, and it's not formatted for Google Fi, so I can't do it. But if they eventually support the Zenfone 2, I will think about
OS 1.
Oh, no, it's OS 5, not 5.2, 5.0.
Oh wow!
But they're updating it to 6. They say it's coming.
Wow.
They say it's coming. So
you're such a commoner, Steve. Such a plead.
Hey, it's a nice phone. The Zenfone 2 is a beautiful phone.
Peasant.
You're not part of the Android elite.
It's the newest version for Asus. It's their mothership, so it's what it is.
Listen to him defending it.
Yeah.
Peasants.
If you want to see a good video about it, go check out our Zenfone review.
Don't go watch the Zenfone review. I would do so many things differently if I were to redo that.
I haven't even watched the Zenfone review.
It's not that great.
I did, because someone had to watch it.
Yeah.
Make sure you didn't.
I think I left it up, or I made it hidden. I don't remember what I did with it.
It's up there.
Yeah, okay.
I was looking for it earlier. It's up there.
So. But continue. stuff, general information, or we can talk about the coverage. It's up to you.
That's a good place to start. Is the
coverage.
which
Bam!
pretty much if you're covered by T-Mobile or Sprint, you're covered. And if you're not covered by T-Mobile, you're probably covered by Sprint. And uses it actually pings off of both towers using.
There we go. Coverage.
What was it used for?
Haha. That should be moved down a little bit.
So it supports. It's a SIM card so it's a true, literal dual SIM card. It's not dual SIM. The phone doesn't have dual SIM card slots. The SIM card itself is able to bounce between
like a dual
the Sprint
band
servers and the T-Mobile towers. So, and the reason for that is because Sprint uses CDMA, or Code Division Multiple Access towers, and it's a very American sort of.
It's very American
standard. Yeah, it's like
primarily American
sort of thing, which means you get great coverage in the nation with Sprint networks. T-Mobile uses a global system for mobiles, the GSM, and that's more used internationally and allows you to go abroad and lets you have coverage abroad and everything else. And it's more of like it's like metric. It's more universally.
Yeah.
Universally, it's more worldwide accepted. And between the two towers and services that the Google Fi network utilizes, you have coverage pretty much everywhere that people live.
And if you drop coverage somewhere else, it'll already be switching over to the T-Mobile coverage or back and forth, vice versa. So you never have a dry spot in your coverage. Well, you
can.
I mean, there's still areas where you're going to have dry spots anywhere.
Because it's not like if you just go traveling somewhere, you're going to be able to connect to any old Wi-Fi, unless you have like Comcast or something, then you connect to all the Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots that are around. But if you don't have that, then you really just can't connect to a random Wi-Fi, and you wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to connect to an unsecure Wi-Fi, necessarily, so...
We'll get to Wi-Fi later.
Yeah. You shouldn't. Unless you have a VPN like I have now, which I can actually put onto my phone or tablet, so if I wanted to go to public Wi-Fi and use my VPN, I feel a lot safer because they can't see what I am doing on my device.
Maybe you should stop doing bad things on your device.
No, but
do something
you go into your bank accounts on a public Wi-Fi, and a hacker could easily see exactly what you're doing if you don't protect your device.
Why don't you just go to the bank and get your...
Or if, let's say, you're using the phone and you're connected to a Wi-Fi, all of a sudden they can see all that data. So that's why, if you're going to use this on, if you're gonna rely on Wi-Fi for this thing.
My grandma has to put her cat down when they're looking at my call data.
No, but they might care if you're giving your grandma your bank account information so she can log in or use it or something.
I'm not giving my grandma bank account information over the fucking phone. I'm gonna go there, write it down, watch her put it in, and burn the paper.
Because it uses that smart Wi-Fi Connect thing. I wouldn't feel right using it unless I had some kind of protection. But it's cool that it's an option.
Well, it's not an option. It is a main feature.
It's a main feature, yeah. That can be turned on and off, so it's an option. Hopefully, it can be turned off if you didn't want it to be used, or only used for private networks.
I haven't actually tried because there's no good reason not to.
Yeah, exactly.
So
anyway.
Except for all the reasons I just listed,
which don't matter because no one actually gives a fuck about us. So.
Crazy ass, I'm gonna go prepare for the government watching me, people, aren't you, Steve?
No, it's just general security measures. Just like you have a password that's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because you generally care about security.
Nobody's gonna guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Josh.
Not gonna change my password, you dick.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yes. So it utilizes both kinds of frequencies. I notice it switches a lot at home for me. I've always lived in like a really weird dead area, and sometimes with everything's buried here. I've noticed that with the old phone carriers, I would just not have service sometimes. But here I watch it trying to find the signal. I can, I have a little more confidence in it, and that's it. And then it finds it. Of course, because I'm living at home. And there's a Wi-Fi thing at home, I can just use internet calling.
Does it even bother to use it? Because it picks the best signal, right? So if your Wi-Fi is not working good enough, it's going to use something else.
Yeah, Well, I have it to utilize the best battery life
Okay.
while it's in the house. So
That would definitely
if
be
it
Wi-Fi.
has a connection, no, that's definitely data. Wi-Fi sucks the crap out of your battery.
Oh, really? Everything I've ever read, it says if you want to save battery life, you turn off your net or your
Wi-Fi.
thing. Because the
You
Wi-Fi
turn off
signal.
Wi-Fi.
Well, see, that doesn't make any sense to me. The Wi-Fi signal is much, much weaker than the signal it has to send out to a tower, which means you're using more battery power sending out to a tower than you're sending out to a Wi-Fi signal. So battery
Except
power
it's a
alone.
constant connection. The Wi-Fi, if you're not connected to something, is constantly searching for a signal. That's what drains the battery power.
Right, but it's because your phone uses the best signal, it shouldn't be searching for a signal if it's connected to Wi-Fi, right?
It's my house. My Wi-Fi is not always necessarily the best signal.
No, I know. I'm using it as an example. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, everything I've ever heard and experienced about a phone is if you want better battery life, you turn
Oh no,
off
yeah,
the
you
Wi-Fi.
turn off the Wi-Fi, but if you can use Wi-Fi as an option to use your phone and call people, then the preferred option is to turn off your network if you have Wi-Fi available. You'll use less battery power that way. But that's only if you have Wi-Fi available. If you're at home, using your Wi-Fi network is going to be better for your battery life than using your network.
Okay then.
Well, that makes sense to you, right? One's 10 times more powerful than the other one is because it has to send out a stronger signal. So it's going to use more battery power, naturally. But
Except
yes,
it's not sending out a large signal; it's receiving a large signal.
and then it has to send it back out. They're constantly talking to
It's
your
just a
tower, the
ping.
tower and the phone. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's just a ping.
but it's still a signal that has to be sent miles instead, or not miles, but still much further than a Wi-Fi signal has to be sent.
Yeah, but your GPS doesn't drain the battery like the Wi-Fi does, and that's an even larger
No,
signal,
the
'cause that's going to a
GPS
fucking
doesn't
satellite.
send. GPS doesn't send. It only receives. That's why if you wanted to actually,
It has to send.
it doesn't send. It only receives, and then the satellites like coordinates. So it does send, but it doesn't send
has
like
to send, otherwise
you
it
know
won't
those
work.
GPS trackers, and that you can like has an emergency push button for an emergency. Those are much different than a cell phone because they actually have to send a real signal, not just a little
Well,
ping
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, but you're not telling the cell phone to,
No, I know.
contact emergency services.
Point is,
for me.
out in the real world, yes, turn off your Wi-Fi. It'll save battery power. But with these particular phones that can use Wi-Fi to use your normal phone number, if you're at home all the time, you should turn off your network, not your 3G, but you should turn off your whatever it is that sends out the network signal.
It does that.
It does it automatically. It sounds like yes. It sounds like the smart
it-
feature automatically does that. So
It will not even talk about your network. Like,
Right.
When I have Wi-Fi, when I'm connected to Wi-Fi, I have 0 bars on my network.
because it's not using the network, yeah. And most phones don't
It's
have
not
that
something
option
you
because
notice
most
until
phones
you're
don't work
pissed
that
off
way.
at work because
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi.
Or not most
works.
phones. Most networks.
Just like, why the fuck
yeah.
don't I have service?
Yeah, right.
And it's because I'm connected to work.
Yeah. So again, yeah, that's obviously not something the user ever has to worry about because it's automatically
No.
going to do it.
Half the stuff in this SIM card and setup, the user doesn't. It's
Right,
set it
right,
for
right, right.
There's not a lot you have to worry about.
'Cause,
There's
yeah.
no micromanaging like there would be if
Right,
you're like
right.
driving around. Oh, I gotta fucking connect to McDonald's Wi-Fi now. Now I gotta connect to fucking Panera's Wi-Fi if I go to Panera Bread or something like that, or Starbucks. Even though
Right,
fuck
right.
Starbucks.
So it's pointless anyway because the phone's automatically going to do what I'm saying. It's going to disable your network and rely on your Wi-Fi if that's the stronger signal.
Well,
And
yeah,
then
because
your
you
battery
can't
power will be
convince
saved
people to
regardless.
actively do it.
Right.
Because if you're
are gonna
telling
wanna
people
do
to actually have to do it, they're never going to do it because
Right.
it's too much of an inconvenience. Especially like every time I leave my house, I gotta remember to turn the data back on. No, fuck that.
Right. No, luckily your phone already does that. Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
good.
So, also, has LTE connection, and LTE is a little bit different than the GSM and CDMA connections. It's the way the networks are moving towards LTE. It's sort of like the entire world's moving towards this one standardized sort of thing.
Right.
So it does support LTE connections, but if you're on an LTE connection on Sprint's network and you receive a call, you will lose data connection or tethering because Sprint doesn't support voice over LTE yet.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
that's
that's why it
Sprint's
does that.
problem, not this.
I
It's
just thought that was just
something
like,
that you
I can't
should
use
know.
data at the same time as I'm receiving a call, so it's just I assume that was a norm.
Right.
I never realized there was no. I figured that obviously there should be
Well,
a
yeah,
way around
because
it,
nowadays you can go on a smartphone
Yeah.
and look in Google and shit while you're on the phone with somebody if you're trying to,
Right.
have a
Exactly. And if you're on
conversation.
if you're connected to the T-Mobile network, that works just fine.
That's good.
but oh,
Yeah.
I can find a way to connect to T-Mobile more often.
There's an app you can download to see where your connections are.
Yeah, I saw that all over the Reddits.
Yeah.
There's a pretty
but
big
the
community
phone.
for this already, and it's
Yeah,
relatively
there
new.
is.
So
So the phone will connect to open Wi-Fi sources, open secure Wi-Fi sources that have
That
been
doesn't
vetted
make any
by
sense.
Google. That have been vetted by Google.
Yeah.
So we're talking McDonald's, Starbucks,
They're not secure.
stuff like that.
But that's fine if they want to call it secure.
enough with your.
It's not secure.
Yeah, it's fucking
So-
secure.
anyone can
It doesn't matter. No,
it's not
yes,
secure.
Anyone can do that now with the chat we're having right now. Nothing's stopping them from doing that. But people aren't going to go out of their way to do that because we're not important enough.
Yeah, and who the fuck should
They're-
hack somebody at McDonald's?
And there
Hackers
easier
who are
ways
trying to
of
get credit card
accessing-
information and stuff.
Who the heck-
It wouldn't happen at McDonald's. It happens more at bookstores or things where a lot of people show up and are on their laptops, and then hackers will be able to
those
steal
are-
all their information.
Those are places that people go and use their information, like libraries where they go to buy stuff online.
No, they're just connecting to the Wi-Fi.
I don't know,
just
but
like
that's
someone
a
on
whole
their phone,
different
right?
Conversation we could have for hours.
No, I know. It's just they shouldn't call it secure because as long as it's open, it's not secure. Because anyone
It's
can connect
secure.
to it. It's not secure.
It is secure.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
If it's secure and that's no one can steal my information, then sure, it's secure. But it's not secure. It's fine.
Every
We,
network in the
Information
world
never
is that
been
because
stolen.
they can hack your home network and get that information too.
Yes, but that is at least
If someone actually
protected.
wants it, no amount of firewalling is going to stop them. That by your definition, there will never ever be a secure network ever.
no, not completely secure. Not completely secure. But at the same time, any fucking open network can be called secure if the person who runs it's like, yeah, I don't let anybody log on to the information without it or whatever. That's fine. We can move on, but it's not secure. No security expert's gonna say that an open network is secure. They even told me that in the military. They even warned you. They even warned you not to keep your Bluetooth on, just walking around because it's not secure. Because anyone can connect to your Bluetooth and get onto your phone in any
At the
public
same
space.
time, any security expert's going to tell you not to put any kind of sensitive information on the internet, which should be common sense.
Right, but at least when
So-
you're connecting to a private network, then you know you're a lot more secure than McDonald's network. There's a big difference between secure at home and secure at McDonald's.
Well, there could be no difference at all for a lot of people. People like us are a little different from just the normal ass
Right,
person. It's secure for them.
No, they can feel secure all day, but it's not secure.
Yeah, but that's a completely different conversation.
Yeah.
We could have it
Now,
another
if
day.
it's one of those Xfinity networks, that's secure because only Xfinity customers can connect to those networks, and the way they because they run through certain modems, like it's people at home get those modems from Xfinity, and then they usually broadcast the home signal, and then they also broadcast an Xfinity open network signal.
Right.
And only Xfinity customers can connect to it. That's secure though because that modem is running everything through firewalls and all this other stuff. So you can't just connect to it by going into
that's more
McDonald's.
secure.
That's much more secure. An open network
It's
by
not secure.
definition is not secure because it's open.
No network by definition is secure.
Yeah, we'll just agree to disagree that no network is secure. That is
No.
the term they're using.
Yes,
Secure
no network is completely secure. That's true. But a network with a password and private, which is only be able to access by your family, is secure compared to McDonald's.
Yeah, but
I don't want people to get confused and be like, "Oh, McDonald's is a secure network." It's not a fucking secure network.
no, they're
Don't
saying
don't go to
open
connect
and
to ya.
secure network. I had to physically log into Bright House,
Right.
which is a lot like Verizon, to stay connected to McDonald's. There
See,
are
here,
other
actually,
networks.
here's a perfect example. You walk into McDonald's and you automatically connect to their Wi-Fi, and you go and you pay with your phone. If someone's at McDonald's and connected to the network, they can now access
pay.
that information,
You do
and
not
they have
go
your
to
credit card
phone
information.
online. You use a VPN, which is a different.
That's what I'm talking
not
about.
really-
If you use a VPN on your phone, then
Not
they
a
can't see
VPN,
that
sorry.
they can't see that information.
It's not a VPN. It's fuck. What is that system called?
I don't know.
But you don't use your Wi-Fi. You don't use the internet to pay. When
No,
you
but because you're connected to the McDonald's Wi-Fi, they can see what you're doing. And because your phone is transferring data from the internet or from your phone or whatever to McDonald's, they're able to access that information. That's why it's not secure.
Right.
But I get it. No, I'm fine with. I'm fine. They shouldn't call it secure. They should call it a verified network. It will connect to only verified networks. That's fine.
It may very
But
well
don't
be
call them
verified.
secured. Because verified just means that the person who owns it is trustworthy. Doesn't mean that every single Tom, Dick, and Harry who connects to the network is trustworthy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah,
There's
that's
also-
fine.
But this is for the obviously more a layman term than what we're talking about.
Right. But
We're
still, in
going
layman term, it's
overboard
not
on the
secure.
security of McDonald's, which is
Sorry
really
about that.
unnecessary for this right now.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So moving on. Now that Brian's back.
She really went crazy there.
That's okay.
We got plan details next on the docket.
Where do we leave off?
Plan details, I think. We were just finishing up talking about McDonald's security and how they need security officers now for a secure network. But yeah, that's where we're leaving off, where it switches Wi-Fi, and it'll automatically connect to Wi-Fi networks to conserve data for you instead of just always pinging off because they
Right,
have
right.
a limited data plan. Like Sprint.
Right.
I think Sprint's the only one who does that.
And especially with iPhones, which is why I was happy they haven't integrated iPhones yet, because iPhones are monsters. They'll constantly pull data from the network and just charge your data, even just sitting there not doing anything, because they send
things do
updates.
These things do too. You need to turn off your Google Hangouts auto connection and Google Photos auto connection because there have been a lot of reports of people just like, oh, my photos are uploading for no good reason. Why is that happening? You know, sort of thing. So,
I think it's on Android. There's a setting that you can do that will make it to where
it only does it on Wi-Fi.
Right, it'll only do it when you're connected to Wi-Fi, compared to it'll just do it whenever at a certain time of the day.
You can only do. I'm 99% positive. There's a setting you can only do it where it's your home network.
Right.
So it's even more
Yeah.
secure.
And it just makes it to where it won't send out status updates until you're connected to a Wi-Fi signal.
There's also something I read about iPhones having a signal booster. If they start to lose signal, Wi-Fi signal, they'll use data.
Yes, even if they're connected to Wi-Fi, but it's a really low signal, but still could transfer data, it'll switch to the network. Yeah, it's really stupid.
It would be good for iPhone users. It would be really good.
Well, but also it could be potentially bad though too.
Once they bring out all the SIM compatibility.
I feel like if you're an iPhone user, you should just try to get an unlimited data plan. Like I feel like you just shouldn't.
Mention that this is early access.
Yes.
Yeah, this is early access. Yeah, which we're gonna get to.
That's under the plan setting there. Early access invitation only.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's not really an invitation only. You guys have to give your information, be like, I want to do this, and then they send it. Invitation only usually means you won't see anything unless they send you an invitation. Like you don't send out your information to be like, hey, can you give me an invite?
It's invitation only because you request an invite.
Right. Yeah. Which is that's.
It's like
like
signing up for a beta in a video game.
Yeah, but that's also an invitation.
Yeah.
So
it's just invitation. Yeah. No, it's invitation. Yeah, it's just you signed up for it, and then they said, okay, you can do it. But yeah.
To get early access, you have to sign up for it.
Gotta sign up.
Hopefully you get picked.
Yep.
And you will be able
Although,
to
it sounds like you'll definitely get picked. It doesn't
Honestly,
seem like they
at this
care.
point, yeah. It's been almost a year since this was rolled out.
Right.
So the number of people, they're adding to the network every day is getting higher and higher and higher.
They're probably going to start doing stress tests and seeing all the big bugs and whatnot. And things like that.
Well, then going for almost a year, I hope they've already been doing that.
Yeah, well, they're just probably... Yeah, they're open.
And there's so many different locations, they gotta test all the different kind of locations and
they've
see what it's like for different people. And
the Google Loon, where it's fucking only in a certain area where people can get internet.
Yeah.
At that point. Yeah, well, we're under the plan, yeah.
Pay for the data you use. Now, I had a question for this. Is it actually you pay for the data you use, or you pay for the data and you just get your money back if you don't use it?
No, you pay for I have the cheapest plan, which is $30 a month. That's a minimum plan with the 1 gigabyte of data.
Right, and you're pretty much guaranteed to use that on a smartphone.
Yeah, I've already gone past it. I was just I've always had unlimited. Brian hasn't done it yet because he's a little better at data handling than I am.
Yeah.
Because I've always had unlimited data, so it's never been an issue tracking my data.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing it every day.
Yeah, so if you stream Pandora over data and you watch YouTube over Pandora regularly, or over watch YouTube over your data regularly. You're gonna go over. Your
Or if you have an
1 gigabyte
iPhone
limit.
and you're just walking around, you will go over a gigabyte.
Yeah. Right. Apple Maps
no,
are gonna
no.
turn you right into high.
Pandora
Yeah.
actually doesn't use that much data, Brian, because it's low quality music.
Oh.
So it's actually compared to like Spotify or other
Right.
programs. It's actually
Although
the cheaper one to
Spotify,
use.
if you have good memory on your phone, you can set the setting on Spotify so it'll put the music on your phone.
To Spotify or Amazon Music because it's just easier to have the music I want than
Yeah.
just worrying about data.
No, I know. And Pandora's great, but you kind of are stuck with what you got. And even when you pay for it, you still have to only have like 5 passes in an hour. It's like, I'm sorry, if I pay for this, I should be able to skip all fucking day.
I don't know. I'm not worried
But
about
that's
skipping,
yeah.
It plays music I like. I
Right.
hardly ever have music.
No,
I
it's
don't
pretty good about it. Like if you vote something, it's usually pretty good about figuring out what you want to listen to. It's
But
nice.
it is data costing, and it doesn't matter at work or home. But
Right.
when I'm driving, that's when I'll use it most.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go away from that. But the 1 gigabyte a month. Since I've went over, it's gone. It started charging me for the megabyte. So
Okay.
It's not charging me the full $10 until I obviously the full
Use up the
$10
full
until I reach 2
gigabyte.
gigs.
Okay.
It charges by the megabyte.
Well, that's good then. So it is a pay for what you
So I
use
think
after
it's
the initial
extremely
1 gig or
pay for what you
whatever.
use. And if you want
Yeah.
the $100 a month plan, the $120 a month plan for 10 gigabytes, and only used a gigabyte, you're paying $30 a month.
Right.
They'll give you the $90 back.
Right. But that's no longer paying
Well-
for what you use. But yeah, paying for what you use, though,
Well-
it's good that they have that.
Yeah, you pay for what you
Yeah.
use, and then they give back what you don't use.
Yeah.
So it's really
They give you. So what they do first is they give you a credit towards your next month's bill.
Right.
First, and then once that's paid off, they give you.
But that's
whatever's
only
left
if you're
back,
paying
and-
for the 10 gigabytes to start with. If you're just doing the 1 gigabyte one, then yeah, that's
Right. Like I went with a 2 gigabyte plan because I wanted to do a little stress testing with it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give myself the thing. I've come nowhere near even a gigabyte.
But you can
for
do that
data.
if you set up a Wi-Fi hotspot and so you can connect your stuff
Yeah.
outside the house. Then you definitely
Yeah, I
would use
could.
that shit up.
But I'm not going to because there's
Right,
there's
right. Yeah, no,
I
yeah.
was stress testing my what I would do. I even played a game of Hearthstone
Mm-hmm.
out connected to LTE, and then it raised my data by like 4 megabytes. A
Yeah.
game.
Well, that's unless you're downloading the
Originally-
game, you don't use a lot.
I originally
Yeah.
went into this thinking, all right, I'm just going to limit everything and monitor it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Then Sterling made a point, why limit it? Just do what you can. Do what you normally would do.
Right.
And then just that's what
See
you're
what it
paying for,
ends
'cause
up,
it's
yeah.
Still, and even if I want 10 gigabytes a month, that would still
Right.
be
And there's still
extremely
plenty of
cheaper
stuff
than
you
my
can
old
do. There's plenty of settings you could probably still dive into if you wanted to make it even less.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
mean, Josh and I are coming from two different
Yeah.
scenarios with the cell phones. Josh was paying a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
for unlimited everything, and he's coming from being used to having everything. I'm coming
Right.
from something that was more expensive, but not by a lot.
Yeah.
And I already had to seriously monitor my data because I didn't want to
Right,
pay
right.
more for it.
There's
So
actually,
it has not been that big of a transition for me in that department.
Mm.
While,
It's been a big
watching my data
transition, but It's not
usage.
something I've minded.
Right.
It's not a big deal to me because
The big thing that we're going to see is when Pokemon Go comes out. If that's going to use, we don't even know if it's going to be using data or GPS or whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll use a little bit, but hopefully it doesn't use a lot.
Yeah. However it works, obviously we're going to be playing it, and our data is going to go up. So I'm going to have a little higher bill, maybe. Maybe I just manage it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I prefer this method over Net10's method, which is what I had previously, who just would shut off your high-speed data completely
Yeah.
once you went over it.
your
And you
data
got,
won't
like,
get shut
2G.
off at all. I don't know about hitting the 10 gigabyte limit, but I don't plan to ever do that.
Yeah.
Oh God,
So
no.
if you use 10 gigabytes of data, I mean, fuck it.
You
Okay.
have a couple
Actually,
iPhones.
look, in my data
If-
usage, connected to Wi-Fi, I've already used 20 gigabytes of data through Wi-Fi.
Oh God, yeah, easily. Mostly because Hearthstone is like 7 gigabytes to download, but yeah.
Mine was YouTube and YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube and
But
YouTube.
still,
The strange thing is my highest performing app, data-wise, is Twitter.
Yeah.
It's
That makes
because I'm on
sense.
Twitter all the time.
And you're constantly receiving updates and
and
stuff.
Facebook,
So.
and there's all kinds of like movies and videos
Yeah.
on there that link through that app and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's this
So-
data-only SIM thing about?
First,
you
if
guys
you
have
want to
on
go
here?
to the plan to take a look at that, Steve, I have
Didn't you guys
the
already
link.
say all the information for the plan? No,
If
I
you
wasn't
wanted
gonna go
bring
to
it
it.
up
I wasn't
for
gonna go
visual.
to it because we can talk about everything in the plan. So.
The data-only SIM card is compatible with a certain amount of devices, which are the Nexus 7,
Mm-hmm.
Nexus 9, the
I have
iPad
one.
Air 2,
But what
the
is
iPad
it?
Mini. What What's that?
What is it?
He's getting to that.
I'm
Okay.
getting to that.
Okay.
The iPad Mini 4, the iPad Pro, and the Galaxy Tab S. This is a card like how if you were to want a tablet to have data outside of your house.
Right. Oh, I guess
you would use that
yeah.
SIM
You're
card
right.
on
Some
tablet.
tablets do have the SIM card thing built into it,
Yeah.
don't they?
Yeah, so you could
Yeah.
put the SIM card in and have data without having to pay.
Okay, so it's
like
just they
20
have
bucks a
that
month or
they
Sprint.
have a data only SIM card option like most of the major
It's a data
people
only SIM
have.
card
Yeah.
for tablets and whatnot. This
Okay.
does not offer tethering. It's not supported with this SIM. I know some of them are.
Yeah.
Some have data tethering. It uses the same coverage map, but it taps into your main phone plan data, so it's not
Okay.
a separate charge.
Right.
It just uses the data from your phone plan. So you'd have to go like 10 gig. Like if you're doing 1 gigabyte, go to like 2 gigabytes. One for your tablet, one for your phone.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, that makes sense. The last
It's
time
just
I
so
even considered one.
That actually came out recently. They had just the phone, and now they're adding tablet support
Right.
for obviously specific tablets along with the
Right.
specific
As
phone.
as they're doing it longer, they're adding more and more stuff that most of the other
And they're
companies have
talking
been
about
doing.
adding as much as they can to get obviously as much people as they can. on
Right.
it.
Right. Yeah. They're trying
I
to
think
get
they're
more
already
money.
talking
That's
about an
understandable.
iPhone. I remember reading somewhere they were talking
They're
about
gonna have
getting an
to
iPhone
if
SIM
they want to
ready.
make any like major serious splash.
Yeah.
They need to consider looking at. I mean, like globally, Android devices own like 70% of the market share, and
Right.
that's true. And Wifi is targeting Iceland, UK, Europe, Japan, all these places. That's true. But if they want to make a big splash in America, they need to target the iPhone users.
It's gonna be interesting though, because if they do target the iPhone users with a program like this, how many people are gonna be pissed off that why are they charging me the full like 10 gigabytes every month and shit when I don't even use the phone for data that much and all that kind of stuff will all of a
Well,
sudden.
then they'll have to learn about their phones and stop just living under
Right.
rocks.
Because yeah, most
Like
people will just pay for higher data through like Verizon and stuff, and they'll be like, "Oh, we could just increase your data limit," and people don't even think about it.
And there's
Or they
one
get
thing
those
to say
like,
about
or they
this.
get those unlimited plans and stuff.
They haven't had a family plan. I don't know if they will, but this is a good single-person plan.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be a little different. You'd have to either have 2 plans for your significant other, or if you wanted a family plan, you'd have to have 4 separate plans, 4
Right.
separate invites to the early access.
No, when you
Or
start
it
doing
might be
family stuff,
cheaper
it does
to do a
actually.
family plan through another company.
Yeah, when you start doing family stuff, it actually does become cheaper to go through like AT&T and stuff.
Yeah. So this is a very good single phone plan.
Yeah.
And that's what I have, so that's why I went with it.
Right.
Yeah, me too. Single use, single person.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if they add a family plan that's cheaper, I mean, then they'll have and it goes well, they'll have the whole market unlocked.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
As long as they can get the SIM cards out there.
Yeah, for sure. What about this app? How's the app? You guys went down. I imagine you did the app.
The Google Fi app it's an app that comes with the service, and it allows you to manage everything about your service right through the phone.
Okay.
And there's always you have the option of managing your plan and stuff. I'd rather do that through the computer.
Right.
But because it's just a Google account, it's just a Google account.
Is there
You
anything?
can do all that.
Is there anything that makes it stand out from
Well,
other?
what makes it stand out is you can in that app you have the ability to pause your plan. So this would be good for say my grandparents who live in Canada and have a phone that they use in America when they come visit. They have a separate phone for America.
Right.
They still have to pay for that. If they had this, they would just be able to pause it, live in Canada, when they come back, unpause the service, and just pick up where they left off.
Right, but most places have that option.
Well,
don't
this
they?
is just right there. You don't have to go.
Oh,
yeah,
on the app,
your,
yeah.
Your phone plan pause.
Gotcha.
And you have the ability to, because I know with Sprint, I don't know if it's like this with other ones, to change your phone plan, you had to go through so many fucking loopholes
Right.
just to finally talk to somebody because they don't want you to change.
No,
With this, it's all right there.
because you're under contract usually too, so you can't just change a contract willy-nilly.
Right.
This
Exactly.
obviously
With
isn't a
this,
contract service.
You could just
Right.
up
Yeah.
your data usage, up how much you want to pay for data, or
Mm.
lower it right from your phone. And it has the support page, a very good data tracking that tells you what
Yeah.
data you've been used.
That's my favorite point. It's like as soon as you open it up, right away it tells you exactly how much data you're using, how close you're getting to your limit.
Right.
And
you can set up your own alerts
or limits. Yeah. You can do it all. Just do that.
It's basically everything that you would have had to do through your carrier's website or call them to do, you can do right on your app.
Right.
And I know a lot of Android phones do have good data tracking. It's close to the same.
Yeah.
But this just shows, because I have data, my data's higher on my Android phone than it is on my Project Fi.
Mm-hmm.
So there's stuff they don't see as data. I don't know what.
Right.
But it gives you a good definition, and it shows you all the breakdown of what you're paying for, like most do. But it's just a cleaner look. It's just a cleaner look, and it's easier to understand.
With that in mind, with that in mind, did you guys actually use the apps for your previous services?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I didn't have an app.
Anything with Sprint, I uninstalled on my phone.
You had one of those where you pay every month first, and you get like Straight Talk. You had something like that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Brian. Or would
you
have
no
before?
I had Net 10.
Okay, yeah, Net 10 wouldn't have an app either. Yeah, a lot of those places don't have apps necessarily because you pay and you get what you get.
Yep. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Another good thing is the support is that it connects you to support right away if you need it. You can email or request a phone call to your device if there's a problem.
And it gives you a timer and it gives you a timer, an estimated time right there without having to call. So if it says estimated time an hour, well, fuck, I don't have time to call and wait an hour, so you can do it some other time. Things like that without picking up your phone any more than just looking at it. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the support is really a big selling point. So I had a lot of experience with the support when I started up because my previous phone company didn't want to give over my phone number. And at the end of the day, I just decided to get a new phone number, which was really quick, really easy. But it started with the phone number not transferring, so I was on a Thursday. So I was talking to support, trying to get things figured out, and we thought we had it figured out. And this was all just through an online chat, through the Google support website. I was doing it through my tablet, in fact. And the transfer was queued, and they said, okay, if it hasn't gone in 48 hours, come back to us, let us know what happened. Friday comes and goes, nothing. Saturday comes, and that 48-hour mark comes and goes, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to contact them again. And I contact again, and I chat with them online again, and it ended up progressing into a phone call, and they called me, and the lady was very nice, very patient, and we ended up calling customer support for Net 10 together on a conference call, so she could do all the talking and everything.
I was surprised by that, but that's cool that they did that.
She could not contact customer service for Net 10 without an account. So I had to log into the account and then contact customer service and then conference call her in.
Mm.
And then once that was in, she did all the talking, and it was great. Net 10 gave us the royal runaround, and we were either on hold with them or talking with them for an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just getting more and more frustrating.
Slips down and started rubbing their nipples.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was.
It's like you're leaving us anyway, so fuck you.
It was just bad. It was really bad. So, and normally I don't like to really call out companies because I know that my experience is usually just an isolated incident most of the time, but fuck you, Net 10. don't even try it. It's the number of problems I had with them over the years is one of the reasons I decided to switch.
Right.
And it was just bad.
So wasn't the actual technical reason they couldn't do it was because they thought you lived in some other state or something?
I thought I lived in Florida.
Yeah. So it probably was registered to a Florida number, so they couldn't actually transfer it. But they probably just were being assholes the whole time, though.
The problem is that number was transferred to them from Sprint.
Right. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So Sprint probably never did it right the first time either. You probably lived in Florida when you were Sprint.
No, they did it right.
That's funny.
So it was just
You had a really good experience, which is nice, because I was worried about it. Because everybody tries to talk up their customer service. Like, we got the best customer service.
Except Comcast. They don't talk it up at all.
No, right. They're like, no, we're not gonna bring it up.
Nope.
But yeah, it's something that Google really touts.
That's good.
And
Google's always really been good with customer service.
Right, but I mean, there are companies that really tout their customer service, and it ends up being crap.
Yeah.
Or okay, but either it's shipped off, to another country, and
then like half of it's robotic.
Yeah, exactly. It's
or
clunky, and
you call and it sends you to fucking India, and you can tell they're Indian.
Yeah.
It's just like
I don't have a problem. I don't really have a problem with customer support being Indian.
If they can do the job, that's fine.
No, not at all.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that they're not there locally to help you. It's like they're not invested in doing it. Whereas Google support was local.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking about.
For now, though, it is still very early days. So for now, they're local. But
for sure. But we were able to, in our wait times, we were able to talk about real life things.
Right.
Which was nice, and it was conversing with a nice, human being who was legitimately trying to fix my problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she was trying to fix my problems so I would have an account with them.
Yeah.
But she wasn't a dick about it. She wasn't overselling it like commission salesman.
Or overselling it or underdoing their job. Like, they can't even speak proper English and they're trying to fucking tell you about your account. So like, did you fucking graduate high school when you're talking to me like this? And then they get mad at you when you say that to them. It's like, well, fuck, now we have a whole thing.
Well, anyone's going to get mad at you if you say that to them.
Yep. And then they do the digital version of spitting in your food by making you wait for as long as they possibly can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my computer is having trouble. The computer, I have to restart the computer. It'll be back in like 10 minutes. I have to, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, exactly. So there are three main ways of getting support. The first one and quickest is an online chat. The people are they're right there. They respond really quickly. Obviously, there are more people going to be manning a computer than manning a phone. However, requesting a call, again, I was with a very friendly lady who was knowledgeable about what she was doing, technically. Like, she didn't have to go get a manager or look at a manual or anything. Like, she had phone examples in front of her, and she was...
Shit.
Right. You could tell that she knew what she was doing, which was really nice. And it only waited a minute to get my call back, which was nice. There's also email support. It's slow. It takes an hour to get a response, but it's reliable. Yeah.
And if
it's
if you don't like talking
eventually.
to people, there you go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. But I
don't want to talk to them on the phone. Well, you're shit out of luck.
If it's to the point where I have to talk to customer service for anything, I'm usually pissed off enough that I don't care if I have to talk to them over the phone.
Right.
Because it should just fucking work.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, and I've used that story to convince a couple of people to go to try it.
Yeah.
At least one. One is trying it while she actually was going to try it anyway. But once she found out that I was doing it as well, she's like, oh, she was more confident in doing it. And then another one, my friend just went out and bought the most expensive phone you can get through the plan. And was like, fuck it, I'm just going to try it. And he's getting it now for the rest of his family.
The worst, you still have a really nice phone that works with everything else.
Right.
Yeah, and you can just bring that phone to another service because it is an unlocked phone. Yeah.
Take me back.
Yeah, exactly. So
cool.
Yeah, and I've been talking to people. My parents all wanted to try it, and they just want they want my input on it before.
Right.
I'm the guinea pig for all my friends and family, but they're leaning towards it, so I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And obviously it's attracting a lot of attention.
Yeah, but we don't care about that. Let's go to testimonials. Gotta get to the phone, man. Gotta get to the phone.
The phone's not nearly as important.
It's just as important.
Not really, because there are other phones you can get with it, so it's not as important.
Yeah. It's popular. That's what I got from the popular section.
It's popular. There's tons of community groups.
Yeah, anything with Google, like Google Fi, Google Google Fiber, like Google is popular. It's just they're doing good things.
Absolutely.
Totally, and you're gonna run into the as expected overly obnoxious fanboys who will never hear anything against the service.
Right.
Which they're the most annoying people in the world, and they make the rest of us look bad for liking the service.
But there's also people that are heavily testing this out.
Oh
and
yeah,
giving good reviews on it.
Right.
Across the board. And one thing that's really nice about this is they give you gifts. When they sent me the phone and Brian the phone, we got packed the fucking Legos and instructions to make a docking port kind of thing.
Yeah, it was
You couldn't show the actual Lego thing? You didn't make it, did you?
The phone holder. There it is. The phone holder, and then this is the cable dock. They give you, and it has like a little drawer you can pull out and keep stuff in. If you wanted
there's
to.
Been people have gotten other things, and they consistently send gifts out, not just when you get the phone.
Right, like you've been with us a year. Congratulations, here's a Lego.
Or here's a battery backup that somebody got.
Oh, nice.
Things like
That's
that.
cool.
It probably helps if they give like reviews and help with tech stuff and stuff, and be like, "Oh, I had this problem." But like actual beta testers, like they're actually giving feedback.
Yeah,
they get gifts.
People that actually give feedback. I'm just using it as a consumer, not
right.
Not a tester.
Right, exactly.
Even though I am testing it technically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not getting paid by Google to say any of this.
No. It'd be nice. Like, you could pay us, Google.
Yeah, totally.
If you want to pay us, by all means.
Yeah.
One of the few sponsors I wouldn't mind taking, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind.
My testimonial, with as cynical as I can be, I like the service. It's better than the service I had beforehand, and I don't see myself switching away from it without a serious problem or
if it gets canceled because it doesn't work.
It just doesn't. Yeah.
And I'm about in the same boat. It's significantly cheaper. Like I could do so much more things because I have so much more money now that I'm not paying for my other phone bill. It's just that. If it sucked, I'd still be happy because it's cheap.
Yeah.
That's what's doing it for me, honestly.
Yep.
But everything else is just a bonus.
Yeah.
How well it works, how smooth everything is with it, and the apps, and just it's awesome.
I would love to give it a go because it's pretty much the same price as I'm paying now. For the most part, the only difference is the not only the fact that it's Google, but the coverage would be better than I have now.
Right.
So if they ever do allow support for the phone I have, because I just bought, I'm not going to buy another fucking phone.
Or sell your phone.
No, I'm not going to buy just another phone.
Price you need to buy this one.
No, this is only $200, so I'd be able to sell it for 150 tops. I'm not going to be able to afford the $300 phone.
Android One.
Point is, I'm sure they'll accept it because it is Asus's flagship phone. So eventually they're going to start bringing on the big name phone brands and stuff. So eventually it'll probably accept it.
Right, and the phones that you can select from right now
is very limited.
It's the Nexus 6, the old Nexus 6.
Right.
It's the Motorola Nexus 6, the Huawei Nexus 6P, which is probably the Google Fi flagship phone.
The one I would have thought if I knew who the hell Huawei was. But I didn't.
And then the one we got, which is the Nexus 5X, is made by LG.
Right.
But they have said that there are going to be more phones in the future.
Yeah, because those are all primarily Google phones. That's just
Google Nexus.
Yeah, but obviously, I mean, obviously they're gonna have to at least talk about iPhones,
right?
But they're also gonna have to look at the Samsung Galaxy
series,
Samsung, because it's a very popular phone.
It's huge. Yep.
Yeah,
that's what I used to have.
Yep.
So.
Yep. No, if they ever open it up, I will be happy to join because it's just about the same price I'm paying now, but I'll have so much better coverage.
Exactly.
I would love to do that.
That's a lot. That'll probably pick up a lot of the track phone users or the.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And Nat 10s and.
Yep.
And Nat 10s and the Crickets because it's such better coverage.
Yep. And a little bit cheaper. Well, not cheaper, but yeah.
And that's probably
once you're able to bring your own phone
because they don't have they're not putting up their own towers.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. So moving on to the actual phone review, Josh, you can take it away with all these specs and stuff.
All right. Well, it's got a 5.2-inch display,
which is why it's called the Nexus 5.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
It's a little off.
Nexus 6 is a 6-inch screen. Look at that.
And it's got the Gorilla Glass, which is actually really impressive considering I'm a mechanic. My last phone had Gorilla Glass, and it got beat up and didn't even crack the screen once. So, and the smudge-resistant, fingerprint smudge-resistant works. fucking amazing. I have grease on my hands. Use my phone, just wipe it off on my pocket, and it's gone because the grease is a little.
So you don't have to necessarily use those cloths. You can kind of just use your shirt. For the most part, most of it will be fine.
Perfectly fine.
That's nice.
It's an awesome.
That's
display.
nice.
It's 1080p, which the
so
6
it's
Plus
full
is
HD, but
the 6 Plus is the 4K screen.
Right.
If I remember correctly. So if you want to go up there,
4K on a phone, that makes no sense to me.
No, whatever.
If you want it, right?
Yeah.
Its rear camera is a 12.3 megapixel with a IR laser assisted autofocus. It can shoot 4K at 30 FPS video capture.
It can shoot 4K because it has a 12 megapixel camera. Don't associate this with like the iPhone 4K.
Right.
It's only 4K because it is literally 4,000 pixels.
Okay.
Okay, that's good to know. I didn't know that. It's got the front selfie camera with 5 megapixels. So
That seems to be the standard 5. Like they don't most of the phones, the front is always 5. It seems like
the fucking selfie camera.
Which is weird.
If people
because
started
that
taking
selfie
selfies
camera
in HD, they would never get laid because they'd be so fucking ugly because of the high definition.
So the selfie camera on this phone is better than my rear camera on my old phone.
Nice.
Don't you have like a 1 megapixel?
3.5. Yep. Pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I'm coming from a really shitty phone.
Yeah,
this is the first time I've ever owned a new phone.
This is the 3rd new phone I've owned, and I love it.
Yeah. Rich motherfucker.
No, I just like debt. Its processors, he's got the Qualcomm Snapdragon 808 processor. It's a 1.8 hexacore 64-bit thing, and an Arduino 418 GPU.
It's a little underpowered.
It is.
That's a little underpowered. I will admit.
The 6P is significantly better in those standards.
Yeah.
But it runs fucking awesome. I haven't had any issues with any apps I've tried to do. The only apps I have issues with is Facebook because Facebook fucking sucks.
Yeah, well.
And some other social media apps that don't like to update to Android. So it just always ruins it with updates. But that's the only issues. But I had that across every phone.
Right.
It's got 2 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM,
which is good enough to run Hearthstone really well.
Yeah.
So if you need a good benchmark mobile game to compare to, Hearthstone's a really beefy game.
And it's also mobile. Minimum 2 gigabytes as well. I think Hearthstone. So
1 gigabyte.
Is it? Because it never seemed to run right with 1 gigabyte when I had a previous phone example.
Minimum requirements.
Yeah.
It does run with 1 gigabyte. So does it run well with 1 gigabyte?
But it's got 16 or 32. The normal 16 or 32 you can get now.
Yeah.
Right.
No one does 8 anymore.
Yeah, I got the 16 because I don't keep anything on my phone ever.
I got the 16 because
I still have a Zune, and I keep my music and audiobooks on a separate device.
Right.
I
always
just
do.
uninstall the audiobook when I'm done. It's extremely light. It's like I picked it up and I thought like there's no battery in this or something. That's how light this phone is compared to my old one, and it just felt weird. And it still feels weird to an extent because it's such a light phone.
It's kind of so the phone, this phone with my case on it that I bought is lighter than my old phone by itself.
Yeah.
And like for the first couple of weeks, whenever I picked it up, I thought I was gonna like shoot it across the room because it was like picking up a piece of paper or something. It's like, whoa!
When you go to pick it up like your normal phone, you overlift it. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And it comes in carbon, quartz, or ice.
Yeah. So black, white, or like teal blue.
Yeah, I see it in the picture.
Yeah, black, white, teal blue.
It's definitely a teal blue.
That's about it.
More blue than teal, but it's on.
In
fact, it's that blue.
That looks a little bluer than the picture, but it might just be the webcam.
I think it's the webcam, but yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, I agree, bro. It's got single front-facing speaker and then 3 microphones, which I guess is necessary.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Most phones have 2 microphones just so they can get the stereo effect, so 3 isn't really that much further.
No, sure. I'm always trying to figure out where the third one is.
Yeah.
There's one on the front, one on the top, and one on the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so there is. Anyway, the speakers are pretty good.
They're not as loud as my old phone, but I have headphones.
Yeah.
And Bluetooth in my truck.
Exactly. It's not. Although I understand that for people of younger generations, they just listen to shit without headphones, which
Yeah, I don't
seems to
understand
be
that.
the most annoying thing ever.
Yeah, I don't get that. It's
Yeah.
unless
Whatever.
there's no way it's gonna sound good either. Like unless you have like a really high end phone, it's gonna sound like shit.
Sub-millennials.
Yeah, that's what we're calling the sub-millennials.
Some
The
millennials.
Fucking
sub-millennials.
assholes. That's what they are.
Kids, fucking kids.
Yeah. Kids these days.
You kids, get off my yard. Anyway, it's got a 27 or 2,700 mile battery.
Mhm.
Jesus Christ, which is milliamp hour. It's got a standby time of 420 hours. Nobody fucking uses your phone on standby.
How's that relate to real life though? Like, how often do you have to recharge?
Once a night.
day. Once
Yeah.
a night. I charge it.
Does
when
it
I
need it
charge
once a
overnight.
night though? Like, could you go the second day, or would you have to
No.
charge it every night?
Oh, I have to
You-
charge it.
Okay.
But I use
You would
the
have
shit out
to-
of my phone.
Yeah, and I don't use it as much, but even with as little, I do business over my phone, so I end up talking more,
Yeah.
and sending a lot more emails. But
Mine
with
is
my
constantly
usage,
connecting to Wi-Fi. I'm always on the internet, always listening to music on my phone, so it's always running. It's got 20 hours of internet use time on the Wi-Fi, up to 9
That's good.
hours internet time LTE.
Yeah.
So
right?
there's
In my
good-
experience, I would be able to go a day and a half of my normal usage without charging it.
Okay.
That's my normal work uses, but it's different at home because I fucking hardly ever touch the thing. I
Right.
don't even know where
Yeah.
it is right now.
Yeah.
Got 8 hours of video playback, which is good, I guess. 10 hours of audio playback, so that's where it comes in because I listen to it audio, and then I'm also online.
Right.
But I listen to audio for 10 hours a day.
Although
almost,
that's
and
also probably going off the speakers. If you plug in headphones, it probably uses a lot less power to get the sound out. But I have no idea if that's true.
And using
What I just said.
it's charging quickly. It takes what? Not
10
even
minutes.
like 10 minutes, 20 minutes to fully charge the phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fucking ridiculous. I plugged it in,
Yeah.
it's like rapidly charging. I was like, fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
then I
is.
come back after I'm like eating dinner, it's fucking almost fully charged. Like, all right.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's a good battery, obviously, because you
Yeah.
need that. But it's
it's-
also using the new USB-C type.
Right. Which means
which
no
is-
figuring out how it goes in.
Yeah, which is
That's
really
true.
nice. It just plugs in.
Really
You don't
nice.
need to
Well, iPhone
fucking
does the
figure
same
it
thing
out.
with their new one, but it's still an iPhone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it is nice. You just slide it in, and
I do wish I had that.
now the USB-C can charge and transfer data at the same time, right?
Correct.
Yep. So that's a nice thing about it. Even though I never realized it didn't do it in the first place.
Yeah, I know,
It's
right?
not
I've
the
plugged
fa-
my
it's not
phone
the
in
rapid
plenty of times.
charging. It's not the rapid charge.
Right.
If
No,
you're
I'm
doing
talking
both,
about the
but
older
it's-
phones with the other USB connector.
Oh yeah.
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 I didn't know. It's
Yeah.
got the standard 3.5 audio jack, which iPhone doesn't have anymore. So if you
Well,
like
the newest
headphones-
one won't have it. The iPhone
Right.
7 or 6, whatever
And then
one's
the single
next.
nano SIM card slot, which is the same size as the iPhone one.
Yeah.
And then it also has the normal sensors, your fingerprint scanner, your accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity sensor, which is pretty cool because if my phone's in standby mode, the screen's black, and I pick it up, it turns on
Mm-hmm.
using all those sensors.
Yeah. It brings me to the. It just shows what time it is, and then
Yep.
all my
Because
Instagram
the only
notifications.
buttons are the 2 volume buttons and then the close the phone off button, the power button.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no center button like the iPhone has or the Galaxies have, which was weird for me, but it's okay. It's got the ambient light sensor, so it can adjust your screen brightness accordingly. The Hall sensor and the Android sensor hub, which I think is the NFC. That's it. NFC. It uses NFC when I was trying to say VPN.
Yeah.
earlier, Steve.
Yeah, no, most people use that. Most phones are starting to build that in now, standard, it
And
seems
NFC's
like.
fucking awesome. I want to find a place that has Android Pay so I can just pay.
Yeah,
it.
most
I wanna
most
try it.
places probably do. You don't even realize it because they don't put the stickers on and stuff like that. But most machines that take
Right.
credit cards nowadays can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like that commercial.
Talking about
Kind of like that commercial.
We're talking about security earlier. I would never do that.
I want to try it.
It's just as
once.
secure as using a credit card.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
It connects to it connects to the machine and then it pays the machine like your credit card does.
Yeah, but a credit card, yeah, but it uses it like debit. It transfers it right away, and it's an automatic signal. The credit gets stored in the machine, and it doesn't transfer for, a little bit time later.
Yeah, but still at the same time, if somebody's gonna fuck with it, it's already done.
Right. The only
Yeah, nothing is gonna. I mean, if people want to
Yeah.
get my stuff, they're, it's not gonna stop it. But I just don't trust it.
Right.
So.
Right. And then the NFC is nice because it's good for file transfer, quick file transfer between other Android phones.
Yeah.
Um,
And if I had a camera that had an NFC transfer on it, I would use it, but I don't. So
Right.
Yeah.
Where were we?
Android 6.
Yeah.
It's got
6,
Android Marshmallow.
But it's a Google phone. Of course, it's got Android 6 on it.
Yeah, exactly. And that is
On
one
Android
of
1,
the
Steve.
best
You'll get there.
things about the Nexus devices, in my opinion, is that you get the updates right away.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think you get them a little too often, but
Because they're always sending you out all their stuff, yeah.
Right. I think
It's just a clusterfuck.
but
Like
I have
every time I plug my phone in, because that's when it updates its apps. Updating this. Like, fuck, I'm trying to watch porn. Stop updating.
That always happens with any device. Like, even
totally.
like my tablet will do that. Like, it'll just all of a sudden be like, oh, we're updating a bunch of stuff. It's like, if you put enough apps on your phone, you'll be updating all the time.
Yeah,
but I mean,
it's
was
more so than the old phone.
Right.
The Android and Nexus connections was the reason why I got a Nexus tablet in the first place, because I was sick of Asus just not providing the update.
Right.
You know, it's like, no, it's been out forever. I mean, the tablet was on like Android 3.8. And we were in 5.2.
It was still an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm gonna go, because in the tablet it's still fairly usable.
Right.
It's just out of date, and Asus stopped supporting it. I don't want to be at the mercy of Asus, even though I love Asus. I don't want to be at their mercy when it comes to
no, that's
providing
always
an OS
always been one downside to Asus is their updating stuff when it comes to things like that.
Yeah,
That's one thing that Asus does not do well.
Yeah, but this does guarantee, even though it is updating more than I would like it to, it does mean that every app is compatible.
Right.
Which is really nice. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it.
Then the video and photo samples.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. So I went out and I took a bunch of photos. You are going to see.
Should I just start cycling through them, or you want me to just say next, or do you want to say next and I'll click next?
No. So what it's going to be? I'm not going to talk about each individual photo.
All
right. Because I'm not going to waste everyone's time doing that. But what I did is I went around and the full disclosure, I brought a tripod, I brought a cell phone holder. I'm a professional photographer. I couldn't just walk around with it. And then I edited the photos. So the first photo you see is the unedited, straight out of camera version to see the dynamic range, how it handles sun flare, how the lens works, and all that stuff. And the second is how I was able to edit it using Lightroom Mobile, which is a pretty beefy and expensive, because you need to have the Creative Suite subscription in order to use it, mobile photo editing software. But it's still a mobile editing software, so that's the power of what you can do with it. And coming from a phone that had a 3.5 megabyte sensor, it's really nice to know that I don't have to bring my camera everywhere with me.
That's true.
Because
you've always said the generic photographer saying it's not the photographer, it's not the camera, or something like that. It's the photographer or some shit where a good
the best camera is the one you have with you.
Yeah, that's it.
Chase Jones
unless it's a super shitty camera.
It still captures a photo.
Yeah, I guess it does, technically.
Yeah.
Does something you couldn't do.
Anyway, so
I can capture photos.
After like 10 minutes of walking around with it, I wasn't like, there were a lot of things that I wished, like, oh, I wish that I had a zoom lens, or I wish I had a wider aperture, or I wish I controlled the shutter speed more, or whatever, blah 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 blah. But I really got into shooting. It was a nice day. It was pretty fucking cold, but it was a nice day. And I really got into it. I was just walking around listening to an audiobook. And so I just ran through the gauntlet of testing shadow to highlight ratios, color details, lens flaring, chromatic aberration, which there's virtually none of, just to see different results and see what the files could produce. Unfortunately, the camera does not shoot RAW files, which a lot of phones are starting to do. But the JPEGs are pretty good, and the 1.55 Illum sensor, whatever, it just means that there's a better dynamic range in the photo, and there's a little auto HDR setting that you leave on, and it does a really good job. So it works pretty well.
Now, couldn't you download a photo taking app that would output as RAW, or is it just not capable of outputting as a RAW?
You can't. That's working too much against the hardware. It's
Okay.
got to be able to record all of those things separately, and if the hardware isn't set up with the different channels, it just can't do it.
Gotcha.
But the camera is beefy enough where the camera lens sticks out significantly from the body. What?
Brave cool man likes your pictures.
Cool. Thank
Those
you.
Nice pictures.
Check out my website. It's beeleysphoto.com. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good camera. It sticks out a bit, so all the cases sort of like the lens
Fit around it.
It's even with the outside of the case instead of recessed, so there's not as much protection. But it's a good camera. It gets an approval for a cell phone camera. It gets my professional approval. Also, the flash
I'm
is
a mechanic approval and your picture approval.
Yeah, the flash is tungsten balanced instead of neon balanced. So if you're taking a picture inside at like a party or something, everything's going to look correct because you don't have a super cold flash going off in a warm environment.
So the dress would in fact be white and blue. It
would be whatever it is. Now what you're seeing is some video samples that I took just to see what it's capable of. It was pretty good. Again, it's 4K, but it's only 4K because it has 4,000 pixels. It doesn't have the resolution, it doesn't have the density, it doesn't have the dynamic range of a real 4K camera. But it's never going to.
Right.
You know, quite frankly, it's a cell phone.
Yeah.
And if you want all those things, go out and buy a fucking camera.
Don't be like those douchebags in those commercials are like, oh, I filmed my whole movie with my cell phone camera. No, fuck you, guy. You attached attachments to that phone and did shit to it to make it actually be able to work the way you want it to.
Yeah, and it's perfectly fine if you're only ever going to look out on Facebook. But if you, it's a good stepping stone to get into. This gives you a good taster of what a good camera will give you. And if you want to get into photography, so...
He's booking it.
No, he's a nice steady pace.
Yeah, he's an athletic person. So
okay.
Oh look, he went back in time.
The shark grabbed him.
Gone back in time. So yeah, again, all the photos were edited in Lightroom Mobile. You need a subscription to do it, but there are other good, photo editing softwares out there. Hell, even Instagram is pretty good. Nowadays, because it's not just filter based. You can work with
if you want to get into Instagram.
Right. Well, I'm in Instagram.
No, I'm on there too.
And
Josh,
it's also got 360 photosphere, which is pretty cool. It lets you kind of. I don't know if you've ever taken a panorama with your phone, Steve.
Yeah, I have before.
It does this, so you could do basically it's a panorama, but it's a 360 around you, so
right.
It's essentially taking a virtual reality picture. I know you fucking love virtual reality pictures.
Well, see, this is what we've talked about this before. I don't see why anyone would be interested in virtual reality, or no, I don't understand why anyone would be interested in this version of a virtual reality picture. A virtual reality picture is you can see all around you. And it's like, I don't remember what the argument was in the past, but it's just an actual virtual reality picture made with an actual camera that's designed to shoot everything around you is going to be much more interesting than what this thing can do.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying that was a new feature on it
that
I've never seen before, which was
virtual reality.
Virtual reality. Virtual reality.
No, it's interesting, and if you're wanting to get toward more virtual reality, then you have to have a better way to do panorama, or is panorama still better because you're getting better quality photos and then merging them together?
It's the same image sensor, so the quality is the same.
Right, but as you go wider, doesn't an image start to distort? That's why you have panoramic settings, so you can get non-distorted pictures, but you get a really wide view.
Same thing. You take a picture, line it up, take a picture, line it up, and it just.
This sounds like you just get
limiting your sensor. If you start cutting out the edges of your sensor, then technically the image is going to be lower resolution.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
but that's
I don't know. I just thought it was pretty cool. I messed around.
Something that most people probably won't use, but it's there if you want it.
Yeah, I don't see the point. I see the panorama being more practical than that, but it's just a feature it has.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. Yeah, that's cool.
And that was
Yeah.
it's a good phone. I'm happy with it.
And it works well with the service, obviously, because it's built for it. Not built for it because it came out. The service came after the phone, I think, right? This phone isn't that new,
Not
or
this
is
version.
it?
The Nexus 5, the original one, came out before the service.
Okay.
The 5X came out after the service.
So it kind of maybe had the service in mind when they were making it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Totally.
So that's
guaranteed.
good. That's good. That's always good when you have a
6P.
service that makes their own phone that is like gonna work with their service really well.
Yeah.
Because you can't have that anywhere else. Well, I guess you can. You can get Verizon phones, even though it's like LG. It has Verizon's name on it, and they kind of went into the build and stuff. But yeah, aside from the major companies,
it works well.
Yeah, you don't see this. You don't see it with this kind of service. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Yep. But that's a small review on this phone. We're not gonna do a huge one. This is more about there's tons of other phones you can get, or not tons. There's still other phones.
Yeah, like
there
the
are
Nexus
other
6
phones you can get with this service.
Like
the
Nexus
6
6
and the 6.
You
can't buy the 6 anymore, but if you have a 6, you can bring it to the service.
Well, that's cool. Well, so you can probably find it on eBay or something, but it's not going to be new.
Yeah, right.
They don't have the Google store.
Right.
Right.
It's the 6P, the 5X, and then the 9, but I think that's a tablet.
So which colors did you guys get?
Is a tablet, yeah.
Black. I got the graphite.
Okay.
Yeah, black. It's going to have a case on it anyway. It didn't matter what it
right.
But I'm a mechanic, so it would turn into a black phone pretty quick.
I don't know. It's just all my devices are black or blue, and the blue that's there is not the blue that I was thinking of. So
kind of girly.
Yeah.
Well, that's neither here nor there. I just like a darker steel blue.
So, any lasting thoughts on the service and or phone?
It's working great.
Yeah.
I expect it to work great for a while. So, and if it doesn't, expect a follow-up video.
Yeah. Well, you've had it long enough. It should be okay. 10/12.
8/12.
And it's 11/12 here, so it's Central, Eastern, and what's you, Brian?
Pacific.
Pacific, yeah. We're across the board.
Yeah.
Pacific time.
Cool.
That's why the webcams look, well, not yours two match because you're both coming in, but that's why the webcams look the way they do.
Yeah. We're across the country. We're everywhere.
Yep. We're everywhere.
I've been everywhere.
Otherwise, I think that's about it. So we can go ahead and do our plugs. Go, subscribe. The button is, well, it's not, if you're watching now, you can't click the button. But if you're watching this after, you can click the button.
Over there.
You can subscribe.
So yeah, it's over. It's over there.
In the chat right now, there's a little subscribe button next to our AvalonPending name. You can just go
got our Twitter there.
Subscribe, and thanks for joining us.
We got our Twitch there.
And powering through with us. If you have anything you want us to talk about next week while you're here, please just let us know.
We haven't actually nailed that down yet, which we should probably do the next couple days.
It's not my responsibility anymore, so I don't have to worry about it.
Isn't it Josh's time? It's Josh's time.
I've got ideas.
Josh and then Steve, and then back to me.
I don't even know what I would do, but...
Brave Pool
Pacific.
is Pacific as well, Brian. Oh, you saw that. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Otherwise, if you haven't already, go vote.
Yeah.
Go vote if you're in Iowa.
Well, he's not. He's in the Pacific side, so our primaries and caucuses are in March.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yay, voting.
Yeah,
be the change you want to be. Or be the change you want to see, or whatever. Thanks.
Whatever it is, rock the vote.
Yeah. But I gotta turn this off, and then we go bye. Stop sharing.